the other show we had was Double or Nothing, and I thought that this show, I thought that so where I'm at with Double or Nothing, right off the bat, I felt like this was a good AEW show. I don't think that I would still say that they still provided good quality pay-per-view. But I don't think that I don't know. For me, I don't feel like it was better than last year's Double or Nothing, and I don't know why. But I just felt like it was just I don't know. I just felt like something was just missing. Like a piece was missing, and I'm not sure what that piece was or what I'm looking for, or not. But I just I don't know. Maybe it even might be just the way that there's a lot of mixed feelings on my side about the main event, and we'll get to the main event. But I think that's kind of like where I'm at with this show. I'm not. I don't know. It was better when I watched it. I started it over again, and I watched the first two matches, and I liked it more after I saw it a second time. So maybe it just needs me to be. Maybe it just needs a rewatch, and I'll feel better about it.
I was
Um,
doing a lot of yard work yesterday in thinking about that show, and I liked it more after thinking about it longer than I did, I think, in the moment, if that makes sense.
yeah,
See, and this is I figured that we would all go different ways. Is that this wasn't as good as Revolution? You know what I'm saying? This was nowhere near like your all out 2021 or anything like that. But I thought this show was awesome. Like I really did. That if it, just to touch really quick, like we opened with that battle royal, dude. That battle royal was fantastic. Um, I thought that the tag title match was great. I thought that ladder match was awesome. And then I absolutely loved the pillars in the main event. So I just named off 4 or 5 matches that all got time, that all had what I thought was the right ending. And during the course of all of them, I thought that those last 2 matches were out of this world. And so to me, this isn't an A, but this is like a B plus plus, man. I thought that this show was really, really good.
yeah. I was gonna give it a solid B, and I think that's just because I have such a high standard for AEW shows.
Yeah, yeah, understood.
Um,
Understood.
but yeah, so I think that for the battle royal, my only thing as I watched it back a second time is that I don't hate it. I like it, but it just seems like sometimes it turns into an enormous clusterfuck, and I have no
That's what
idea what
battle
I'm
royals are.
right. But it just feels like I have no. There's not like usually like I don't know. It just felt like this one felt like an enormous clusterfuck, but I like the way that it ended.
So I don't know, maybe if you went back and watched some of those casino battle royales and
Oh,
stuff that
they're
they've done, that's what I'm saying. This is head and shoulders above those, and it's hard to have a quote unquote good battle royal to begin with. The 2 comments that I had with this one were: first, this one literally had better names than the World Championship Battle Royal that they did last year
yeah,
to put Moxley in that match with Tanahashi.
yeah,
But the fact that they did the thing where it was a couple of minute mini match with Orange and Swerve at the end, I thought was great, man. And there were some great spots and things that were in it. And the only gripe that I really had was that Commander ran off the top ropes, jumped off to the bottom, and got right back in, and nobody cared. I thought that was stupid. Aside from
yeah.
that, I thought that this was an awesome opener, hot
But how
opener. Orange kept. Go ahead.
how great was it that Jay White was the only one smart enough to push him off the ropes?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I
Yep.
popped huge whenever he did that.
Now, that drives me nuts, man. It drives me nuts when he's walking on the ropes and everybody stands there and watches it.
Yeah, I feel like that they like did some fan service on that one whenever that elimination happened. It was like the old wink wink, we heard you.
The great thing too about that battle royal was we didn't get 75 people in the ring at the same time. People were fighting on the outside and they came in when they came in, things like that. Like I don't need to see 75 guys in the ring stepping on each other's ankles.
I felt like that way a little bit, like not in the beginning, but like towards the right before they got into the middle. I felt like they had a lot of people in there right before they started doing the eliminations. I felt like there was too many dudes in there, but then once they got them out, then it opened up and I felt better about it. But I just felt like sometimes they could turn into a clusterfuck really quick, and I think it's just because there were so many things and people diving off the ropes and everything there at the beginning. I was just like, what the fuck am I supposed to look at?
Well, protect your talent, man. You don't need to have 30 guys or 21 guys and they're all at the same time running into each other. We don't need that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought that was a great opening, and with Orange Cassidy retaining in a belt that, is serving its purpose right now and, doing a lot more than it probably should be at this point.
That was a perfect way for him to eliminate Strickland too. It was
Yeah.
excellent.
Yep,
Excellent.
Yep. Little slothy shove there. I loved it.
And then the second match was Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho in the lights out unsanctioned match. And I didn't like this match the first time I watched it through. It felt clunky. It just felt like a mess. But then when I watched it a second time, I actually liked it a lot more. Now the finish was weird. I thought everything was great up into the finish once I watched it back a second time. And I thought that I thought that when they did the spill outs on the floor, like Jericho, like throwing himself out there in the early going, and then they doing the suplex to the floor. I thought that was good. The fire extinguisher absolutely got the best of Adam Cole on that, which I thought was hilarious. That Jericho, they had to call it on the fly where Jericho had to drag his ass back in there, holding on to it. But I like the fact that they got the Brit interference because it made sense for the storyline, and that, it's leading right into a intergender tag match, and that they're eventually probably going to do split breakoffs, and then they'll end up doing rematches. I like that too. So whenever I watched it the first time through, I was like, damn, this match didn't live up to my expectations, but I thought that it was great. And the second time through.
And I thought it was good, not great. I thought that they were going to have a better match. I only saw that one live. But my thing about it is that the finish was just so weird because it was just like ground and pound ref stoppage. And it's not like Jericho, like, I mean, dude, you saw afterwards his eyes all swollen and everything, but like, that was just, it was strange to do a ref stoppage when a guy's, head wasn't literally falling off of his neck. Do you know what I mean? Like that was, but I thought it was okay, but like, and good, but that was the one that I thought, dare I say, under delivered, because I thought several matches on the show over delivered. And that was one that was there.
Absolutely.
It didn't do anything for me either way. I liked it. It didn't change my life. I thought the ending was a little weird.
Yeah, I just wish that the ending was different. I feel like this would have been a way better match if that ending wouldn't have been like that.
I mean, clearly we're going to get more from the two of these guys together, so I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it.
Absolutely. And then we had our boys. We had FTR and versus Lethal and Jarrett in that what I thought was a really fun tag match. I love the guitar spots. I thought that this match was perfectly placed. I thought it was great, and I totally okay with it. And then we had
interesting thing with the Aubrey guitar spot. I'm surprised they did that.
I was actually surprised too. That popped me huge. I was not expecting her to take a guitar shot.
And I thought that this match was literally everything that it should have been, right down to the very end where you had Mark slapping and going off on who ate was it Jarrett that ate the pin? I just
Jared. It was Jared.
Yeah, because he hit the stroke and all that, and you thought that he was going to win, and then you end up having the happy ending there. So yeah, dude, I thought that was all really good. I thought, like you said, John, fun. It was a really fun match, and the spots that they wove in the whole way through, like you said, the guitar shot. We had a little bit of drama. So yep, perfectly fine.
The stuff with Jarrett and Briscoe was pretty great too, with him pushing him around and shoving him and yelling at him.
Yeah, it was great. And then we had Wardlow defeat Christian, and I don't know. This one I was kind of doing stuff during this match for some reason. I just have a thing where I couldn't get into this match, and I don't know if it's just because my mind was doing a bunch of other stuff, but Mongoose, you loved it.
I thought this was awesome. This to me, and this is back-to-back Christian matches. This to me was the Christian Jungle Boy match where I was just ready to be like, oh, okay, here we go. This will be fine. And I was all aboard, man. Wardlow bumped like an insane person, all over the place. Some of their ladder spots were nuts, man, especially that one with the bridge where Wardlow went and got crotched on the bridge. He did that insane swanton,
Yes.
senton, whatever, off of that 30-foot ladder. And the fact that here's what was really interesting is that Les Thatcher does a show on, it's called Wrestling Weekly. It's an amazing listen. I think I plugged it last week. If anybody's in for subscription, listen to it. And he just told a story this past weekend where they were talking about the Punk and Ace Steel thing, because Les is close with Ace Steel and I guess friendly with Punk and everything. But they were talking about why Ace would have bitten Kenny. And basically Les said that like there was a time where there was a guy that was, shooting on a wrestler or whatever. And the wrestler went to like hook the guy. And the guy, who was just a guy, bit the wrestler's finger cold off, like bit it
Oh
off,
God.
spit it out. And so his argument was that Ace bit Kenny because Kenny's hands were in his face, right? Like that was the whole reason that he was telling the story. And
Okay.
so to see Arn then like bite a dude's finger, not off, but like
Yeah.
it was a really weird, synchronicity in the universe. If people weren't listening to that show, I thought that was out of nowhere. And to me, like, I went like full antennas up, like, oh my gosh, dude, like Ace knows less. Les told this story. Did Ace call Tony? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I thought
Yeah.
that was really interesting. And
Well,
so,
isn't Ace back with the company?
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So did Ace call Tony and be like, dude, they just told this story. Have Arn go and chomp this dude's finger off.
Oh yeah, yeah. Got you.
Like, do you see what I'm
Excellent
saying?
call. Yeah.
So I don't know, man, but I just thought that the timing of that was fascinating. And dude,
The old third eye's open.
Arn Anderson laboring around in that tracksuit.
Oh,
It gets me, man. It gets me every time. And I thought that this match, it wasn't a 5-star match, but this was an A, dude. This was awesome. I thought it was great.
Arn Anderson looks like the most comfiest man in wrestling whenever he's in a tracksuit. It's so incredible. I love the Arn spot. I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I thought so poorly of this match. Not that I
Dude,
thought poorly of it, but I just felt
the finish, Arn pushes him off the ladder, caught by Wardlow into a power bomb.
okay. Yeah,
That was great too. That was great too.
maybe I just totally forgot about that match and how awesome that ending was, because I did think that ending. I think whenever I saw that Wardlow won, I was just like, meh. I don't know why. I was just meh because I just
That's worth a rewatch.
yeah. I'll have to rewatch that.
I haven't seen it at all yet. That was the match I missed, and I haven't even had time to go back and watch it this weekend yet.
You'll love it. Just seriously, and I hope that I don't overpromise and underdeliver, but I had low expectations, and I was
I think that's
very, very happy.
I think that's what my problem was. I had such low expectations for this match that like the way I watched it, I was just like, oh, okay, no, we're here now. Like I don't have to like fully be paying attention, but I remember like seeing all the spots and I was like, okay, I like this, but maybe it's just because I only paid attention to the spots. I didn't pay attention to the whole thing. But then we had Tony Storm. She becomes women's champion in a really quick match with Jamie Hayter, and obviously the rumor going around now is that Hayter is hurt, so makes sense. Pays back Storm for being the interim champ, and now she can just be full champ. Like let's do it right. Let's make Tony Storm a good champion. Like if we're gonna do it, let's fucking do it.
Right, it's the right call to go with Storm. Storm is a great heel. She's awesome. She's super aggressive, and I like the idea too of getting the belt off a Hater and maybe even putting it back on Hater. During the Wembley show, because,
Mm.
and I know I've said this before, I don't feel like they've done anywhere near enough to get Hater over as to who the hell she is. they don't talk about her enough
Yeah, I
in
agree.
like a personal sense, right? When you get all these
She's Britt's buddy. She's Britt's best friend.
that's all we know. But look at
Yep.
all the packages we got for like Seth Rollins going after that belt is a perfect example. They show all these pictures of him as a little kid, and this has always been my my dream is to be the champion. Yada yada. Like, can I please just get that in the build up to the Wembley show so that I can get invested? Because right now, all I know about Jamie Hayter is that she's really aggressive in the ring and she throws people around and people like her. That's really all I know about it.
That's actually an amazing point. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that until you said that. Yeah, because we don't know shit about her. No one knows anything about her other than that she was over in Stardom and then she's just worked her way over here and is Britt's friend. They,
This one screamed to me. Hayter wins it in Wembley, which is great.
yeah,
No,
yeah. If
no
they're gonna
problem with
do
that.
that, yeah, if they're gonna do that, like do it, like because they're gonna need to do something like that for the crowd.
I think Baker, you talked about this before weeks ago, but do we what is the Wembley show? What's it going to be on?
They
From
just
the
actually said about that Tony did they asked him. He said it will be available to everyone, but that was all that he had said so far. So
Okay.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure the rumor was that it was going to be on Max, and that the All Out show is going to be the pay per view show.
I'm assuming that because he said it's going to be available to everyone, is that
It'll be
it'll be live on a TNT or a TBS or something like that, and then streamed on Max.
yeah,
That would
either
make
or.
it available to everyone. But
What time of
who
the day
knows?
would that be? I mean, when would that even be on TV?
It'd be like 1 o'clock, right? Because
Yeah,
isn't
it'd
it
have to be like
6 hours?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, one or
Yeah, so
three
it'd
or something
be
like that.
no different than a Saudi show.
Yeah. Okay.
If they did that like 1 o'clock on like what is that, a Saturday?
I think
You
it's a
think
Sunday.
a Sunday, 1 o'clock on a Sunday? There's nothing going on at 1 o'clock on a Sunday in
Yeah,
that weekend. So like, why not?
before the NFL starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had House of Black defeated Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, and this was the match that I went and I started doing other things because I had to get away, had to do
This
some
yeah
husbandly duties, so it was a good. I
yeah
felt like it was a
this
good one
was
to hop away from.
this was a match. That's all it was.
Yeah,
They
that's
they
what I
got they got
figured.
the heat on Bowens for what felt like hours. Fire up there from old Billy Gunn, a couple of famousers, matches over. I mean, it was what it was. Julia Hart had some interesting fingernails. That's the other thing that stood out. I hated the lighting of this match too. I
They've
hate
been doing that a lot lately with
yep,
those House of Black stuff.
yep, don't like it. Didn't like it with the
I was a little
Fiend.
I was a little surprised they didn't put the belts on the Acclaimed. I felt like it might have been time to put the belts on them.
Well, is that the only way the Acclaim stays over? Like, is
I
that the
don't
only way
know.
people stay invested in them? Is if they have belts? Because then that's
I mean,
not.
they got really hot, man, and maybe they should not have lost the belts yet. I don't know, but it sucks to kill their momentum when they were one of the hottest acts in the whole company.
Yeah. And then we had Jade retained.
It's all over for you and me.
Yeah, Jade retained against Taya, but then we had the really big return of Chris Statlander, who comes in and becomes the one in 60-1. So Chris Statlander is now your new TBS champion. I thought that was perfect. Andretti and I have been calling that for months, that Statlander was going to be the one to come back and beat Jade, and that's why we need to get the book, Tony. So don't be afraid to
Just
hand over a little bit of duties.
weird booking to bring in Valkyrie and have her eat 2 pins.
Yeah, that was weird.
After making a big deal out of the fact that she was allowed to use her move in the pay-per-view match, and then Jade still beat her clean.
Well, and not only that, double weird that Statlander won after Jade wrestled in what was her most contentious match ever. Like, it wasn't a squash. Like, dude, 60-0 doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to make a big deal of it, say she's going for 60-0 against anybody, who's it going to be? And or say that it's going to be Valkyrie, and because you have a big return, beat down Taya before the match starts so that she can't come out, and
Yes.
then have Statlander beat her clean. Because dude, that, I mean, that it's a look, it was over huge, but like
That would
wouldn't
be a bigger
Statlander got something
surprise.
more? Yeah, wouldn't she have got something more though of beating Jade that wasn't just off of a 10-minute match or
But
whatever?
that's
And
where you set up the rematch, and why there's a premise here now for a rematch, a Dynamite or another pay-per-view or
Eh,
something.
well,
you're right
the
there.
premise makes sense in that they would have a rematch. I just feel like that would have been a lot better because Jade would have been completely off, like on her toes and discombobulated by having a new opponent, and like it was just Sterling out there belching around that we'll defend this anytime, any place, anywhere, and then it was just boom right there.
She
I
still
mean,
needs a lot of work.
who Jade?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we're all. I like Jade. I just feel like she could be. She just needs to get better, and that's only going to come with more reps.
And I think I might have said this in the group chat, but she she does some things really really well, and
Hmm.
she sold pretty well in that match with Valkyrie on Sunday. But it's these like moments of like awkward confusion and like lack of confidence in the transitions between moves and sequences for her, where she's just standing there awkwardly not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And that is where she's not. I don't know if they need to get her a new coach because she's been working with the same people for 2 years or what it is, but there's something there that's not clicking between the moments.
It's akin to whenever NXT went straight rebrand first into the 2.0, whenever they were bringing out people where your choreographed match, someone wasn't in the right place. You know what I'm saying? Like something, and you could tell that the person that that was either supposed to be delivering the offense or selling or whatever got shook in the moment. And I think that it might be something where if someone's out of place or anything like that. And again, like John said, she's green, and you noting on those kinds of awkward, weird transitions and stuff, that's literally not knowing how to quote unquote work, right? Like not knowing how to, oh, on the fly, you're not in the right spot. So I got to grab your wrist and I got to give you a short arm clothesline fast to put you in the right spot, whatever,
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that. And so, and that, it's only going to come with time. 60 matches is a lot of matches, but the problem is that it's been 60 matches over what, 2 years, 2.5 years,
It's been,
something
it's
like
been
that.
60 30-second matches that were squashes.
The 30-second matches are not going to do anything for you like over time. So, but yeah. Um, but yeah. So the two main events here, I thought that they were really good. And I think that I'm looking at them a lot differently now, 72 hours removed or 48 hours removed. Um, I, the MJF retained in the Four Pillars match, I thought that I have, I absolutely hate Jungle Boy now. He's on the dead to me list. I don't care what you do with him, but he needs something different because this baby face and unwillingness to do whatever he needs to do to win, and he's just gonna keep eating L's. Like I, I'm
Dude,
I'm not
he
okay
got
with
booed. He
that.
got booed for not turning.
Dude, he
Yeah,
got booed. He got booed bad for not
Yeah.
using
exactly.
the
And
belt.
like whenever he did that, I literally just threw my hands up in the air. Is like, what else? Like, what do we do? Where do we go from here now? Like, there's nothing left for him. Like, he has to do it, or he's gonna get Codied.
Well, the bad thing is he now the move that I hope doesn't happen is it's because of you fans, which we've heard you fans
You're
for
oh
how
my
long.
god,
But you know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that was the scary thing with that.
I don't
Um,
want to
I
hear
need to
that.
I need to put over my favorite sequence of spots
Yes.
in this entire weekend, which might be different than the one you're thinking, John.
Okay.
Mine was when each pillar did the finish of their mentor. When
That was mine.
Okay, yep. When it was Jungle Boy with the Unprettier, and then you had MJF giving the Crossroads, and then them referencing the Crossroads, and Cody was awesome. And then Sammy did the
They mentioned
walls, and
they mentioned Cody's name a few times in the show. So that's cool. I'm
Man,
glad that they're able to do
yeah,
that.
I was just gonna say he literally helped build the company. Don't act like he wasn't there because it's part of your history, man. And he's a big star right now. There's nothing wrong with capitalizing off of his success in another company too. But I thought that was absolutely great. And there were several different sequences in this match that I was blown away, man. I thought that this was so well worked. Sammy Guevara is so good. I hope so
Yes.
bad that he catches on, man. I really do because he's too good. And dude, how brilliant was it that we were getting this soft baby face turn, Andretti's complaining, saying, do I cheer him or not? Dude, he
Yeah.
comes out there and announces a pregnancy. Who's booing a dude that announces a pregnancy? I thought that was brilliant, man. Thought it was
Absolutely.
brilliant.
That's a great way to get over the hump and get back on the fan side, which I thought was a brilliant move. I loved it.
And you
I
got
can't I can't
and
tell you how hard I would have popped if that was all just a ruse and MJF threw Tay Mello off a scaffold in that match and everybody just gasped.
oh my god, I didn't even think about
I
that,
would have
dude.
popped, dude. I would have popped so hard if that would have happened.
Oh
Like
my
with Snitsky,
gosh.
like Snitsky punting that baby.
Yeah. Yeah, which
The
just really quick to allude to the main event, the Cesaro punt of that shoe was, dude, that was Ray Guy style.
It
He
was
sent that,
unbelievable. It was so awesome.
he sent that thing 70 yards, man. That was incredible on a shoe. Go ahead, John.
the the other thing that I thought that was really great in this match was MJF just screaming things like the no 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 and the what the fuck. Like I thought those were all great. He's starting to win me back over a little bit. I thought he was getting a little stale there because his act is just the same thing over and over again. You got to go through 100 different things to get to me. And I'm glad that
You know, and just burying the town and everything else. You're not wrong about any of that. But I'll tell
so
you what, man, the dude can go. That Danielson
absolutely.
match,
Absolutely.
and then this match back to back pay-per-views, that dude can actually go.
And the fact that he did it with a headlock takeover, I love it. So I guess I don't know who's. I mean, he's the best pillar in the four pillars. So I'm interested. I'm actually truly interested to see where they go with MJF. Like who's next in line
So
for
am I.
MJF.
Yeah,
I'm actually I'm really looking forward to it too. I mean
I think,
that
I'm sorry, go ahead.
the more I think about that match, the more I liked it.
Yeah, same. Because I wasn't overly happy in the moment with it. I was just like, all right, yeah, like this is what I anticipated happening, and I was too irritated with Jungle Boy in the moment. But after I thought about it, like Darby and Sammy and that pinning sequence that they went through was phenomenal. Like them just going, like all three of them just doing pins and rolling around. That was excellent. I loved it.
I thought that this is as good as a four-way. It might even be the best four-way that I've ever seen, and I mean that. Like it ain't easy to have a four-way match because you don't want things to get too convoluted. And I thought that they did an awesome job of this guy's laid out, and so we're gonna work three, and now we have two laid out, so let's work two. And the
Mm-hmm.
four-way spots were awesome, and there was great drama. And I said it last week, man, and I'm going here again, is that now that Darby ate a headlock takeover, I think the move is to have Sting try to coach him up and for him to be like, Sting, you know, I don't need your advice. Your advice has gotten me beaten by a headlock takeover 2 times. And then we got Sting and Darby at Wembley.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well, I was thinking we were going to get MJF and Sting at Wembley.
Now that
I mean, that
you know
could be.
what that actually could be something too,
Dude,
where
do you
Sting
think that
fights for the valor of Darby after this. That I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
do you think that there's any chance we're not going to get Darby Allin standing on top of Mount Everest holding up that belt?
Oh, I forgot that he's gonna climb Mount Everest and dude, I don't know if he could carry that belt. You gotta be like really meticulous on what you pack to make
Dude,
it to,
now that they have all that oxygen and stuff now, he's just going to be on the back of some oh my gosh, what do they call the mountain
Sherpa.
helpers? Yeah,
Sherpa.
he's going to be on the back of some Sherpa going the whole way up the mountain anyways, just puffing, just puffing oxygen. He'll be fine.
Seriously, you think he's gonna do it like that? The dude's insane.
I think we're gonna get Darby Allin holding up the AEW World Title on top of Mount Everest.
And it'll
I
be Max
mean,
special. Darby's climb, and a bunch of brooding music the whole way up,
dun, dun, dun,
yep,
dun, dun, dun,
yep,
dun,
and then
dun, 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 dun.
just cuts to him talking about living in his car and just
We never
I
get
hope
to
that I
that.
hope that they drop. I hope that they take the car up in a helicopter and they drop the car off on top of Mount Everest, and he has to ride it down.
or if he gets up to the top of Mount Everest and it's a Sherpa in a cutout face of MJF
Oh
that
my god,
knocks him out and beats him with a headlock takeover on the top of the mountain.
that would be great. But let's get into for me, that was my match. I felt like that was my match of the weekend. I thought the Four Pillars match was match of the weekend.
It was
And
awesome. I can't say you're wrong. It was awesome.
I know that you're gonna say that this next match, which is our final match on the card, the big main event was Anarchy in the Arena. Blackpool Combat Club wins. Um, I know that Mongoose is gonna say that this was the greatest match since sliced bread, but that first 5 to 8 minutes until they killed that singer, I wanted to rip my ears off, Mankind style.
So here's the
I
thing, John. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Last year, whenever they kept playing the music, it was over. It was over big, and
Yeah,
they knew it. And so what they did was to do the same thing, but do it better. You have them play it live, and you had the payoff with them super kicking the singer, and the fact that they kept playing it live and then he kept singing. I was dying, man, because I was just thinking that it was like the Hocus Pocus. Whenever they just play I put a spell on you all night long, like, and then the parents at the end of the night have no idea what happened, because the band played all night and the parents danced all night while the kids were getting abducted by witches. Like, it felt like I was getting those kind of vibes. And the fact that it was live, it was grungier, like just in sound. And so I thought, or grittier, I should say, not grungier. It was like grittier live. And it was just noise with all the chaos going around. And then when they popped that singer at the end to kill it, I thought that it was absolutely perfect. I thought that was can't do it any better than that.
Oh, I love the major league version of that song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. And whenever they just kept, I felt like they were killing it for me. It was just pissing me off, and I just wanted them to end it because I hated it, and I wanted them just to get to the match. I wanted to just get to the match, and then the only thing that would have been better instead of just super kicking him was if they super kicked him and they had a rocket launched to their foots that would have sent him to outer space. That would have been the only send him right to the sun. That would have been
Honestly,
the only thing better.
I absolutely loved it. I loved
yeah.
when they
Oh, I was so
after
pissed.
when they started playing it like the third time, I was like, "What the hell are we doing?" But then when they played it the fourth and the fifth time, I was just popping harder and harder and loving it
Yep.
more,
I
dude.
la
And
so
I knew when they were still playing and the Bucks were headed up the ramp that there was going to be some kind of an altercation. I didn't know what it was going to be, and then they kicked that guy's head off, and he sold it like a champ. It was
Yep.
great.
so I popped for the third time through. But then whenever they did it the fifth and the sixth time is when I muted it. I legitimately turned it on zero, and I was like, I can't have any more of this.
See, and here's the thing that I actually liked about it too, is that because it wasn't a match going on just in the ring, it just felt appropriate to just have just background noise. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah.
that was what I thought was so great about when they did it last year, was that, everybody got the New Jack vibes and all of that. But it was the fact that that song kept playing because it never really all got in the ring. Do you know what I mean? Last year. And then this year, they obviously they knew that people liked it. So there was some fan service there, and then they paid it off. And the other thing too there, John, is for you to say that you hated it and you wanted the singer to get shot to space. They did it.
I know.
So like they paid it off too. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the other part. So I don't know, man. I understand. Look, different strokes for different folks, but I thought that was done perfect, man.
The only thing that it just pisses me off because when they typically do live entrances, they fucking suck. And that one, all that was replaying in my head was that dude singing Brian Danielson's theme song at that show, and I wanted that guy to just burst into flames and never come back again. And that was just like that was the only thing that kept running through my mind was that Brian Danielson theme song. But
Understood. That one left a lot to be desired, but
yeah,
We don't ever need to see that guy ever again, whoever that guy was.
Well, I'll keep sending pictures of him every once in a while, so you won't forget him. Don't worry about it.
but once they got rid of the music though, it was amazing. And then I just got there right after the music was killed, right before they killed the music. There was so many camera cuts that happened. I was like, damn, I can tell that they took that guy from Kevin Dunn because there was so many camera cuts because there's so much going on, which I totally
Well,
understand.
and that's what I was just gonna say is that's the only thing about it is that it had to be impossible to direct. It had to be impossible to direct. And I actually did appreciate the fact that they were trying to show you where everybody was at and what everybody was doing. And I thought that the even better part about it was that they did big spots everywhere.
Yes.
And there were callbacks to that Tony, to that Kenny versus Mox brawl where Mox put him through that table or whatever that was up in there was callbacks to that. There was callbacks to Kenny and Moxley with the spider barbed wire table thing.
They went back to the poker chip again after the first Double or Nothing.
Yep. So I thought that was all really clever. And then, dude, listen, the reason I loved it so much, and I know that, you're not going to be alone in saying that like it left something to be desired. And there's people that probably just outright hated it, but
I didn't hate it.
Oh, I'm saying that there's people that there's people out there that just thought that this is the worst thing in the world. But look, man, it was 40 minutes that you could not stop watching. And I was entertained the entire way through. It was a hardcore match without being like there was blood and everything, don't get me wrong, but we didn't need to have, light tubes and stuff all over the place. Yeah. But it was as organized a open arena match as you could have had too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like to navigate through the crowd and the different places. Dude, and then the little things that I know people will complain about because it's not real or whatever, but like, man, you could take a dude outside and you pile drive him in a pickup truck. Like
that was so great.
And then an exploding super kick. Dude, when that firecracker popped on his shoe and he did that super kick, I almost fell over, dude. I was so in love. I thought it was awesome.
Well, the spot that I loved was doing the swing on the concourse and then throwing him into the trash can. Yeah. I thought that I popped huge for that one. And then the random Dodge Ram is what I have in my notes here. This random Dodge Ram that came out of nowhere just for someone to eat a pile driver on was incredible.
Yeah. And dude, the fact that Matt then he stomped into those tacks, almost vomited everywhere.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
And then he ate the tacks. And then here's the other thing too, is that it's bloody and gross. And then that entire finish was awesome. We got a one-winged angel. You think the match is over, and then we get a turn, and we have the bad guys win, and then they reveal to Keshta, and then afterwards, Kenny cuts a promo and says that I have friends too, and so like I'm excited to see where we go, man. I thought that this was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not too big on Wheeler Yuta, as very well noted on this podcast. I absolutely hate him. I don't know why. I think it might be his stupid face, but
he was incredible in this match, man. He was great.
I know that he was. But it's nice to see that the dude has normal pants and not his long crotched MC Hammer pants that he always wears.
And you know what else I appreciated was the fact that you're not the only person that, that's going to say like, why is Wheeler Yuta here? And the fact that they gave him the victory,
Yeah,
especially the victory over Kenny, like good for him, man. Like I thought that was really smart, man. It's him winning in the way that he won the match for them wasn't impossible. And there's a little feather that you can use to give him some credibility moving forward. He can talk about that for the next 2 years.
absolutely. I actually like that idea too. And the only last thing I have before Andretti can take it away here is that um, when they mentioned that they're outnumbered, the only thing that ran into my mind was blood and guts because that's the only thing that's left that they haven't done. So that feels like a good match that it's 5-on-5, and that's a perfect segue to get them to the Wembley show. But that's just me.
If we get Okada in a hardcore match, take all my money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Is
that
it
would
going
be
to be
the idea.
Okada? Is it going to be
Well,
Okada or is it going to be is Matt out? Is that why they're adding two? Is that why they're bringing in Okada and
I'm here. Here's what I'm thinking, John. Is I'm thinking that this is Forbidden Door
okay.
because I think that they add Takeshita and then add Shooter, and then you bring in Okada and then Kota Ibushi.
Okay. All right. Well, now I'm really excited for
How awesome is that?
it's
That's
gonna
a
be that's
dude.
gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's what I think. To me that makes the most sense is for that to be your major seller in Forbidden Door. Okada does not need to eat a pin. Moxley doesn't need to eat a pin. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this can Wheeler Yuta can eat the pin here, or Takeshita, or whatever. Like there's people that can eat this pin while you have all these big stars. You have your huge moneymaker. Let me pay to see this match, and then off of that, you then can parlay that into whatever you need to for All Out in Wembley.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
my money, man. I mean where is Forbidden Door? Where are they running that show from?
Is it Chicago?
Toronto.
Oh, it's Toronto this
That's
time.
right. That's
Okay.
right.
Yep.
That's right.
I'm that show's gonna be awesome. I'm now excited. I'm back in. I'm excited again. I took my hiatus. I'm fully back. So, we can hit the fanfare for the Podski. And yeah, I mean, I thought that even though this Double or Nothing show, I felt like you guys talked me into it. I need to watch it again. That's where I'm going to leave it. I need to watch it again, and I'll come back with something different.
If seriously, if anybody that hasn't seen it, the must sees for me are the tag match, ladder match, and then the last two. The battle royals is great, but whatever. I wouldn't say go out of your way to see it. Tag match, ladder match, and then the last two, it's going to take an hour and 45 minutes, and it'll all be well worth your time.